Well, a very good morning from Phuket, and today we're at Freedom Beach. Right. Well, the weather the last 4 or 5 days has been absolutely glorious across the island of Phuket. So I thought we'd have a change from all the restaurants that I've been covering just lately, and we take a look at one of the less commercial beaches here on the island. This is Freedom Beach, which is very close to Patong. It's about 5 minutes on a scooter. We've just arrived. The trail down isn't great, I'll be honest with you. I was hoping to bring Shadow with us, but there's no way we could get Charlie down the trail that we've just come down. It's very bumpy, lots of potholes. I wouldn't recommend it for people that are not confident on a scooter, because there's plenty of places where you could come unstuck and come off the bike. So you need to be very, very careful. You can leave your bike at the very top of the trail if you want to do so, but I warn you now, it's quite a long walk down to this parking area. So you get down to the parking area. So the trail that we've just come down is here, so it's quite steep. Obviously it's going to be quite easy if you decide to walk down. It's going to be a lot easier walking down than what it is going back up, because it is quite steep, and that's why I say you need to be a confident rider on the scooter, because the ground isn't great. I don't know whether you can see that. I have filmed the trail as we've come down on my other camera, but there's loads of these potholes and places, ruts in the track leading down to this parking area. So you need to be very, very careful. There's no way that we could come down on Charlie. We'd never get it back up if we managed to get it down. Normally in high season, I believe they charge to go on this beach, but of course at the moment with the current situation, there isn't anybody here. But I'm not sure, I'm not quite sure of the situation on Freedom Beach, because it does change. Sometimes there may be somebody here charging. I couldn't tell you how much it is, because I don't honestly know. I haven't been. This is one of the beaches I've actually missed, to be honest. The other day I was sitting looking at a satellite image of Phuket and looking where all the beaches was, and I've thought I'd visited Freedom, but I haven't. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go down and take a look. Sign there, Freedom Beach, but you may have to pay, depends on when you come and if there's anybody here, but at the moment we don't. Now, I have been warned by a friend of mine who's been here that this trail that we're about to walk down is quite steep. So as you can see, I have trainers on, and I wouldn't recommend you do this in flip-flops. What I would say is, if you've got a rucksack, chuck a pair of flip-flops in your bag, so that when you get to the beach you've got them there. But I certainly wouldn't recommend walking down here in flip-flops, especially if there's been any rain, because I would imagine it would be quite slippy. As I say, the last 4-5 days we've had some fantastic weather, but as I've mentioned on previous videos, we have had some storms the last couple of weeks. And the reason why I mention this is a lot of people actually ask me what the weather is like in July and August. Well, there you go. You can get beautiful blue skies, very little cloud today, a lot of blue sky, very, very warm. It's about 10:30 in the morning. We've actually just come back from Anyon Beach, where we've took Shadow, because today is Tuesday. So of course, you know, I go out having a look around on a Tuesday. I've got a bit of time to do some filming. I would have loved to have brought Shadow down to this beach. I'm sure she would have loved it, but and she would have loved this trail going down, exploring, etc. As you can see, some quite large rocks, so you need to be very mindful of your feet when you're walking down here, because I would imagine it's quite easy to slip. So flip-flops I wouldn't recommend. Entirely up to yourselves, but I'd say you need trainers. Both me and Nat are wearing trainers. I haven't bought a pair of flip-flops because we're just coming down to visit the beach. We may spend an hour down here. We bought some water. Again, something I should have mentioned at the top. If you're coming to this beach, there's no shops that I know of near here. It's just off the main road, about 5 or 10 minutes off the main road. You need to grab yourself some water or some food or whatever you want to bring down to the beach before you get to this point, because you're not going to find anything, I don't think, down at the beach. I may be wrong. As I say, I haven't actually visited this beach before, so it's going to be my first time. I'm trying to be a little bit extra careful because of course I've got the camera in my hand, so sometimes when I'm looking at the camera I'm not watching where I'm going. I'm walking and it could be very easy to slip and fall, and I don't quite fancy that here. because it's very rocky. Pete, my friend who's visited it, did say it's not too bad walking down, but coming back up it can be a bit hard work, especially in the heat at the moment. It's very warm today. I'm not complaining because, as I say, we've had some storms and it's really nice to have a dog down here. Okay, to have some nice weather. Let's hope this dog's friendly. Hello, mate. Hello. Hello. Okay, he doesn't want to make friends, that's fair enough. Huh? Now this trail is looking a little bit overgrown, I'm guessing because not many people have come down this way in the recent months. Now there are two ways onto this beach, so depending on which way you come, this is one. That's saying oh my god, as the trail's sort of getting a little bit thin. But there is one where you pass Tritrang Beach, if I've pronounced that right. Tritrang. We've come the other way because we've come from Caron and Qatar, of course. Definitely need to be mindful of your surroundings when you're walking in areas like this. I'm certainly looking around just to make sure that we are alone and there's no animal or wildlife that wants to say hello. Okay, it seems to be opening out a little bit more now. Just that little bit that was a bit narrow. I was thinking, oh dear, if this is what it's like all the way down, not going to be great fun. I do recommend you watch where you're putting your feet and you're watching slightly ahead of you. If you're coming down here, there's not many people around, then definitely be aware of your surroundings, because of course in Thailand we do have snakes that are venomous. I'm not saying there are any here because I don't know, but I'm definitely mindful. It's a very narrow trail with things all overgrown, so you just need to be very careful where you're stepping in those areas. But now it seems a little bit better. We've got a more of a concrete path, which is a little bit better, and you can see what's on the ground in front of you. So of course, if you're going off the beaten track anywhere in Thailand, not just in Phuket, anywhere, you need to be mindful of your surroundings, because of course there are creatures, animals over here that can be venomous, and if you was to get bitten, it wouldn't be a pleasant experience. Okay, we're losing the concrete path again and going back to a smaller trail. Now of course, if you've got any walking difficulties whatsoever, shortness of breath when you're climbing up hills, then maybe this is not going to be the right beach for you, because certainly there's a bit of an incline here going down to this beach all the way down. Okay, just be careful sweetheart, because there's some rocks here. It's not too bad today because it's not raining, it's nice and dry, so the ground is not slippy, but we are now back down to a very narrow trail again. Ooh, it's a fair way. Doesn't actually look too far on Google Maps, but surprising when you actually start to walk it. It feels further than probably what it is. Of course the sun is very hot today. What? Hat? No, I'm okay at the moment. I've got to be careful of my head. My bald head, of course, catching the sun, getting sunburnt. I've put some sunscreen on today, but the sun over here can catch you unawares. It's actually a lot hotter than you think, even at this time of year. Wow. Okay. I think I might knock the camera off in a minute, because I really need to watch what I'm doing here, because this is quite steep here. I don't know whether you can see that, but there's some rocks. You really need to pay attention to where you're walking here, because it would be very easy to slip. Wow. I would say this is where all the water runs down when we get heavy rain, because just looking at it, wow. Okay, I'm going to lift my glasses up just so I can monitor what's on the ground, keep a close eye on what's on the floor. Whew. Okay, I can just see the beach there in the corner. I don't know if you can make that out, but wow, that looks nice. But it's it's definitely a trek down here to get to it. I'm sure it's going to be well worth it. Just be careful now, please, because this is quite nasty. I don't know if you can see that going up. Okay. Wow. Okay. Need to be very careful here. Wait. A lot of sand. Okay. Try and decide on where I'm going to step. Wow. Wow, look at that. Oh, how beautiful. What a lovely coloured blue that water is. Huh? Have you seen that, Nat? Yeah, Nat's in a bit of a... He's trying to decide on where to step, I think. Okay, well, it certainly looks like it's worth the effort to get down here. Now, I was amazed on Google Maps just how many beaches there are actually in Phuket. And I'm not talking about the well-known beaches such as Kata and Karon and Patong, of course. There are a lot of these secluded beaches. Just look at this coastline here. I mean, this is just lovely. I mean, wow. There are quite a few of these. Now, some of them are private. I can just see the sand down there as well through the trees. Wow, this looks really nice. But that's what we've got to get through first to get to it, which is quite steep, I'll be honest with you. It may not look that steep on the video, but I'm assure you it's quite steep. So you really need to be very cautious when coming down here. Definitely trainers or walking shoes of some description, not flip-flops. But going back to what I was just saying, there are a lot of these secluded beaches to explore on the island of Phuket, which is what I want to try and do over the next few weeks, weather permitting, of course. It all comes down to how the weather is. But I have noticed on the satellite image that I've been looking at lots of these places. Some, of course, are private, some are connected to hotels, so not all of them you're going to be able to visit. But there are quite a lot. I'm very mindful of my surroundings around here because, of course, there's not many people around. There's not many people going backwards and forwards up this trail. Well, Pete did say it's quite a way down and it's a bit of a challenge coming back up. So that's why I said to bring some water, because I'm absolutely pouring a sweat now and I'm going downhill. So what it's going to be like coming back up, I don't know. But as you can see, because it hasn't been used for a while, it's overgrown a little bit. So as I say, I'm being a little bit mindful of my surroundings to make sure I don't bump into some unwanted friends. Oh dear. Looks like there's a lot of rubbish being washed up. Of course, this beach, I would imagine, not being cleaned at all at the moment. Whew. Yeah, that's a bit of a shame. But there you go. It still looks a lovely beach. I'm absolutely dripping with sweat, pouring off me at the moment. I don't know if you can see that. And this is going downhill. So, going to be definitely an experience going back up. Pete did warn me. His girlfriend came down with Pete one time and she said next time we go, we have to go by boat, because you can actually catch a long-tail boat to this beach from, I think, Patong Beach. I think I'll have to ask Pete. I don't know how much it is. I would imagine it's probably a couple of 100 baht. Okay, I can see one person. Wow. Unfortunately, the weather has not been kind to this beach. There's nobody down here really. I can see a couple of people over there, a couple of Thai people. Oh, there's somebody sunbathing and somebody swimming. But of course we have had, you need to bear in mind that this beach doesn't always look like this. We have over the last 2-3 weeks had some very strong storms. In fact, one of the ferries that goes across to Samui has capsized. That's how bad the weather's been. So, and there's been a few people drowned and lost, so you do need to bear that in mind, because I'm sure this beach, I've seen pictures of this beach and it doesn't look like this with all the rubbish, but this has come ashore, I would say, in the last couple of months. And of course, with nobody using the beach, the people that sort of clean the beach around here are probably not going to bother. But wow, I can really see when this beach is cleaned. What a stunning beach. Wow. So if you're looking for these type beaches where you're virtually alone on the beach, as I said, there's 2 other people over there making use of the beach, but apart from that and a couple of Thai people over the back, there's nobody here. And as you can see, it is an absolute glorious day. Wow, really nice. Just a shame about that rubbish on the back edge, but as I say, I'm sure in high season the people that charge to come onto the beach, those are the people that clean it. Now I've just made my way to the northern end of the beach, and what looks like a stairs leading down, which must be the other entrance, but this way you need to access the entrance at the top, at the very top. I don't know how far it is because I've not come down this way, but this is as if you're coming out of Patong going up the hill towards Tri Trang Beach. You need to follow the road all the way down. It's quite a long way, that's why I didn't come that way, because simply we would have had to gone into Patong to have done that. So there are 2 ways onto the beach, obviously the way we've come down, and then this way, as you can see. I can't say whether it's a better way to come, because just here there's steps, so it does look a better way than what we've come in, but what the trail is like further up, I honestly don't know. So that may be worth exploring if you're staying actually in Patong. As I've said, we've come via Kata Karon way, and of course it's easier to access the way we've come. Just look at this. How beautiful. On a perfect day as well. Really nice. A real shame Shadow couldn't have come with us. Oh, she would absolutely love this beach. Well, we've just made our way to the southern end of the beach. It's not that long, it's set in a very small cove, but there's a little bit of shade at this end, and that, of course, like a lot of the Thais, they don't like the direct sun, so she wants to sit in the shade. And to be fair, it's quite strong today, it's very warm, it's turning into a lovely, lovely day. But wow, what a beautiful beach. When I come to places like this, I think to myself how lucky I am to be able to live here. I mean, just take a look at this. Now I believe this beach, Freedom Beach, is actually a public beach, but unfortunately the land that you have to cross to get to the beach is privately owned. That's why I think at times you find there are people at the top of these trails sitting there collecting money, charging you access to go across their land basically. Now, as I mentioned, you can actually get to this beach by long-tail boat, because literally Patong is just the other side of this hill. So the hill that's in front of us, if you just go around the coastline there, Patong is literally there. So you can catch a long-tail boat if you prefer, which is going to be a lot easier. I don't know the cost, I'm sort of guessing. I would imagine it'd probably be around the 200 baht mark per person. It could be more expensive, I don't know. As I say, I haven't taken a long-tail boat. When we get to the high season, I will come back and check the prices. Looks like there's a bit of a swing here. A lot of sandflies around there. I can see around the wood. I want to try and stay away from them. I don't really want to get bit by sandflies. So, of course, at the moment, nobody coming onto the beach. It's not being looked after. But I would imagine the people that live in this area do sort of take care of the beach, because, of course, they're charging people to come down. And some of the pictures I've seen of the beach are really beautiful, and that's why I wanted to come down today. But I want to show a true reflection of the beach. As you can see, there are some driftwood, some rubbish on the beach, and of course, as I've mentioned, we have had some storms, so that is all part of it. You've seen Kata and Karon's beach, exactly the same, but the water here looks beautiful. There is a sign to take caution when swimming here, because I'm guessing there could be some strong undercurrents. Again, if you're here in the high season, I wouldn't imagine it would be a problem, because most of the beaches in the high season are safe. You do have to be cautious, of course, on all beaches at any time of the year, but particularly at the moment, which is low season. As I've mentioned on previous videos, Phuket does have some strong undercurrents on this side of the island. But wow, beautiful. I'm gonna have to go and have a bit of a dip in a minute, I'm afraid. Oh wow, that water is so great. If you love these sort of more quieter, less commercial beaches, then this has got to be one that you need to check out. Well, we've had about an hour down on the beach and we're just starting to make our way back, just packing our things away. Had a bit of a surprise, just the other couple that was on the beach, they are actually nudists. I didn't realise until they come running out the sea that they had no clothes on. Now Nat was telling me that does go on this beach. Somebody did mention it some time ago on one of my videos that I did on Yanui Beach, saying that Yanui Beach was a nudist beach, and I said that Yanui is not a nudist beach, and I've never heard of that being a nudist beach. Haven't been to Freedom, as I've said before. This is my first time down at Freedom Beach. I had actually thought I'd been here, but I haven't, so I don't really know too much about it. So Nat seems to think that it is actually, there are people that come down here and do go nude. Okay, well, I've just put my trainers back on now and we're going to make our way back up the trail, back to the car park, or where we've parked the motorbike park, whatever you want to call it. Let's get over this rubbish first. Now, I'm not going to film all the way back up because I need to watch where I'm putting my feet, and it's a little bit difficult and a bit distracting when you're holding a camera and trying to climb up this trail. As I've said, it is a little bit rocky, a little bit steep, so do bear that in mind. And as I've just mentioned, I have noticed some naturists on this beach. Now, whether that's just because it's very quiet here, and that's not sure whether this is something that regularly goes on at this particular beach or not. I haven't read that it does, and the pictures that I've seen of Freedom Beach, of course, have not showed anything like that. As I say, I don't know whether it's a regular thing or it's just because there's nobody here at the moment in Phuket, and of course people are taking advantage of the quietness, shall we say. They probably wasn't expecting anybody else to be down here. Wow. I'm already sweating and I've only gone 20 feet. Wow. Okay, I can see what my friend Pete was talking about. It can be a bit more difficult going up. You could potentially hurt yourself quite bad here because it is quite steep. You can see that. Wow, I think this is going to be a long trek up. Right, I'll be back to you shortly. Wow, it is actually quite steep on the way up. We've gone maybe 100 yards and I'm already panting and really sweating. I mean, it's coming up to 1 o'clock now, so just after midday, and it is very warm, so bear this in mind if you're going to come to this beach. Would be better to come back up this hill late afternoon when it's a little bit cooler, not in the middle of the day. But unfortunately we've got other things to do and we need to get on and do those things. That's why we're only staying here 1 hour, but it's definitely hard work going up this trail. You've got to keep an eye on where you're putting your feet. Oh my god. Okay, no shade here, so wow, really got to watch where you're walking here. Whew. Okay, it didn't seem too bad coming down, but Not so good going back up. It really does seem steep. Okay, I'll come back to you when we're a bit further up the trail. Okay, well, we've just got back to the concrete bit. There's no real shade leading up from the beach. The first part that you have to climb from the beach. Nat says she doesn't want to come again. It is quite hard work in this sort of heat. I mean, it's probably getting towards the hottest part of the day now, and I am absolutely soaked with sweat. And we've still got quite a way to go. There's this concrete road that's got a bit of shade along it, so we're going to keep in the shade. But believe you me, it's actually hard work going back up here. I know now what Pete was talking about when he said he came with his girlfriend, and she said next time she'll only go if they go by longtail boat. Okay, well, we've made it back up to the house where the dogs are, and I've got to say, boy, have I got an appetite now for a pizza. This certainly gets your appetite going. I'm absolutely soaking wet. In this heat, that trail is definitely hard work. Nat's sitting on the floor down here, trying to catch a breath. There's not a lot of shade there, and the parts that are overgrown, well, I must admit, they're not great fun because you can't see where you're walking. Come on, let's do this last little bit. I don't think it's too far now from this house. And that's a little bit worrying when you can't see what you're walking on and where you're walking, because you don't want to step on something accidentally and get bitten by something that a lot of people take for granted over here. And they don't realise. But of course, when you're out somewhere like this, you are in nature. You'll have to excuse me because I'm trying to catch my breath. It's somewhat of an incline, to say the least. This is. It actually doesn't look that bad, but try walking up it in this heat. I'm absolutely wringy wet. I really am. I can feel it running down my face, my back, everywhere. Wow. So of course, you're in nature's backyard. And let me just say that again. So of course, you're in nature's back garden, so it's worth bearing that in mind. I haven't seen anything, and to be honest, I've seen a few snakes over here not far from where I live and take Shadow a walk, which concerns me because of her. Obviously, she doesn't understand the dangers, but I have seen a couple of snakes. I think one of them was a rat snake, so not venomous, but the other one was a cobra, so quite dangerous, highly venomous. Not good if Shadow was to get bit by it, that's for sure, or anybody else for that matter. So worth bearing that in mind. Right, we're almost near the top. I think that is the top just up there, and I am really glad that we're near the top, because I need a big drink of water and get over to the pizza place pretty quick and get some food. Right, I'll come back to you once we get to the top. Okay, well, we've just arrived back. I'm glad to be back here. I can tell you I'm glad I haven't now got to walk all the way back to the main road, because that would be a real killer. So that's worth bearing in mind if you decide to park the bike at the end where the tarmac ends. It's a hell of a hike back up and down hills. So I would say it's probably a good 1.5 kilometres, if not 2 kilometres. Nat's struggling there. She's had to stop twice and have some water. Once I've caught my breath, I'm going to make my way over to have some pizza where we went last week. Of course, I'm not going to film it again, there's no point, but I really enjoyed the pizza over there, and for the price they're charging at the moment, I think it's an absolute steal. So I want another one of those Italian sausage pizzas, because they were just delicious, really were good. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's video, this look at Freedom Beach, and I'm going to try and do a few more of these more secluded and hard to get to beaches over the next coming weeks. Let me just move because I can see the camera's not with the light. We're under shade here at the moment because we're both pouring a sweat. So I'm going to try and do a few more of these type beaches over the next coming months to show you what Phuket has on offer, as in the way of the less commercial and tourist beaches, because I know some people don't like Patong Beach because it's very commercialized. The same with Kata and Karon, etc. So I'm going to try and hunt out a few more of these secluded beaches, but they can be hard work to get to. Some you just simply can't get to unless you have a boat. But we're going to take a look at that over the next coming months. So until then, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if so, please do give it a thumbs up. I will put all the relevant details, where this beach is located, etc., in the description down below, so go and check that out. It's also got my social media links in the description, such as my Facebook group, my website, and things like that you're going to find in the description. So do please go and check that description out. It's well worth it. So from me, as always, you take care, and until the next time, I'll catch you on the next one.